The city folks arrived at the beach last night. It's a weekend holy day, so they started to pour in no sooner than the sun came up. Their arrival totally changed the dynamic of the space here. For example, there's a group of people 100 feet away, and I can hear every word they are saying, even though they are all standing close enough to touch one another. It seems they must speak loudly because their words are not enough to touch one another. In spite of the change in their locale, the hours drive and the ferry ride dragging them away from the city, they cannot leave the sounds of the cityscape behind and still act as if they must talk over it. But there are no honking horns or roaring bus engines to disturb the solace. And speaking of which, yesterday's soundtrack was simply the crash of the waves against the fine sandy beach. Wow, even grandmothers with curly perms are posing for selfies, but again calling out to their grandkids to run over and show them how to operate the gadgets. There are parents whooping and hollering to round up their kids, and of course the whooping and hollering of the kids' resistance. There are numerous couples strolling on the beach, stopping every 10 or so steps, it seems, to pose for a selfie. It's like the city folks are doing everything except just being here. I'm not looking forward to the competition at the breakfast buffet, and I've already planned my soundtrack with my earphones. It's funny to suddenly see dogs on leashes and people taking pictures of dogs on leashes, when the past few days have been spent with many dogs free to roam and run everywhere as they please. Even these city dogs seem to disturb the peace with their panting and pacing back and forth, owners desperately throwing found objects for them to fetch, only to save them from the rough local dogs who chase these full breed mongrels who seem to run around for no reason. Even these local dogs stare at them like they are strange, and sitting here watching all this take place, they are strange, both the spectacle of the pet owners and the weird and wily shapes of these thoroughly bred species of dogs. There were loads of children already here before the city folks arrived, but this new breed to descend upon the beach today are all quite special and must be handled with special care. They seem quite fragile as compared to the local youth, all of whom seem quiet, quite overdressed for the day at a beach. Oh, and did I mention that these urban youth keep playing with their hair as if they must be picture perfect at any given moment? Where's the fun in that? But somehow it must be fun because it seems that half of them spend more time looking at, reviewing and editing and posting the pictures they've just taken. Far more time, it seems, than just taking in the scene before them. I guess when they leave in 2 days, these snaps and the other trinkets they collect will be all that they have to remember this place. I imagine the stories that they will tell other city dwellers once they get back. But really, what will they say in between meals they pose for pictures on the beach? It's as if these kids no longer have the ability to play, or is it the freedom to play, because even the sandcastles they build must be picture perfect. Somehow it is us, the adults, who have ruined it for them. Before the weekend, it was only Europeans at the beach. They traveled halfway around the world just to come lay here in the sun. Just a few taking in the experiences of kayaking to the nearby islands, and noticeably, even fewer of these tourists were up early enough to catch the low tide that reveals a walkable path between the islands. And now, the whole beach is filled with folks, up early enough to fill the whole beach, and form an unbroken procession between the islands along the paths, and fill the soundscape too, mostly with their whooping and hollering. They're excited about each bug bite, or going mad over each crab they spot burying itself into the sand. And now, instead of just the cool breeze of warm, salty air, there is a sure whiff of cigarette smoke coming from every direction. Indeed, the city folks brought this with them too.